Welcome back. Today we are talking about domestic violence, in particular abuse of older women who tend to be less likely to ask for help.
Latrice Hogan is the director of the Milwaukee Women's Center, a division of community advocates. She's going to talk about services for elder abuse and helping them regain their freedom. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
A really important topic, one that we haven't really talked about on the show before, and so I think it's one of those that people need to listen up because it's a very significant issue right here in Milwaukee, and we're talking about elder abuse. How would you define that, especially as it relates to Milwaukee?
Well, as nationally and Milwaukee, basically that individuals are being abused. They're being abused emotionally, physically, financially. Some of them are having treatment without consent. They're being restrained. Things are happening in homes. And 79% of those things that are happening in the home of the elder that is being abused. And 4 out of 10 of those are being abused by their own children. So it is significant. Most often I think people think the issue is around caregivers, and although that is true, many of the caregivers today are family members in the homes. And so oftentimes we won't see the issue because it's a child. So reporting that it was an issue would mean that I would have to say that my child was doing something, someone I love, and these individuals are not walking out of homes. Some of them own their homes. Some of them are in elder facilities, and they truly would be leaving their things. So it's a different issue, and I don't think people realize it oftentimes because they figure who would actually abuse their parent, an elderly person. Those are the people that we care about the most. Wouldn't someone be taking care of them, nurturing them? And oftentimes that's not the case.
Sad.
How significant is the problem here in Wisconsin?
Well, in the recent years, 8%, we've gone up 8% in Wisconsin as far as an increase. And I think it's more significant than that because the reporting piece of it, because once someone enters a home or the individual is at an emergency room or they're at the doctor's office and people are asking questions, most times the dominant individual or that child is speaking for them, or they're saying things like, oh, well, they're having problems with their memory, or if the bruises are because they fell, or they probably took their medication by themselves. I had it set up, but they took more than they needed, or, you know, and then they're doing different type of psychotherapies, and they're not consenting oftentimes to treatment because they're kind of going along with their child or the person they think has their best interest at hand.
What are some of the red flags or warning signs that community members, other family members, healthcare workers can look for?
Oftentimes, if that individual is isolated, there's bruises, there are continual visits to the emergency room, unable to speak up for themselves, often agitated when people are speaking for them. They seem nervous, seem like they have more anxiety. If it's someone you know, their behavior has changed and they seem pretty withdrawn, no longer attending community events or even their place of faith. Just changes in just their daily routine, things like that, because older people are pretty structured. They have a set routine, and when things begin to change, there's something that is there. I mean, you don't have bruises on you unless you're falling, and if that's the issue, then it's better to be safe than sorry by making that report and seeing if there's an issue than saying, well, this is an individual that has a health condition that is prone for them to fall and things like that.
How can the community help?
The community can help by looking at the warning signs, being aware of individuals in your neighborhood, especially people that have lived in your neighborhood for a long time. You no longer see them coming out anymore, or you see more people in and out of their house. If you're someone working at a bank, you're seeing withdrawals that shouldn't be there. People are signing on their account. All of a sudden, if you're in a doctor's office and you're working in the health field, people are making decisions for people they weren't making before, or they're having them sign things when you know for a fact that these individuals no longer have that cognitive ability. So just being aware of things that are unusual, and I think sometimes we look over those things because the caregiver may be a child or a grandchild, and we think, well, they would have their best interests at hand. Individuals may have some undiagnosed mental health issues. There may be substance abuse related things, and there may be, as we say in our field, generational abuse, where these patterns have gone on, they've witnessed these things, and it's just a repeat of things that they've known for their life, throughout their life.
Well, and I think the fact that even you bring up grandchildren too, I mean, it just, it hurts your heart. It makes you feel a little sick thinking that a grandchild or a child, anyone would do this to someone, but specifically those, the people that you've been caring for most of your life.
Yes, and then we're finding in our shelter that also significant others of children and the grandchildren as well. And so the significant others are being abused, and then they're abusing the parent because they're all back home for whatever reason. And so this is our population that deserves to be cared for and nurtured. They've paid their dues. They've, supported families and continue to support and care for children. And we need to, as a community, not disregard it just because of the elder person, but really look for signs that weren't there before that these individuals could need help.
If there's someone watching today who is being abused and they hear what you're saying, what do they do?
So if you're being abused today, we can call 671-6140, 671-6140, and that's our elder abuse program at Milwaukee Women's Center. And also if they call the County Department of Aging as well. We want to be cognizant of what's going on as a community, as well as reach out to the best of our ability so someone could come in and to investigate from the county, or in our case at Milwaukee Women's Center, provide the in-home services or counseling or support groups that these individuals need to be not only safe, but cared for in the future.
It's good and important information. Thanks for joining us. And we put
Thank
that
you so
phone
much.
number up. Again, it's 414-671-6140. It's Community Advocates, and we're talking specifically about the Older Abused Women's Program. CommunityAdvocates.com is the website to visit too. Thank you so much
Thank you
for joining us.